9 persons feared dead in a fire outbreak at an oil and gas farm in Calabar. Nigeria to play a key role in European Union new agenda. Plus, protection monitors rub minds on bridging protection gaps with human rights abuse against internally displaced persons. These and more on Panorama today with me, Lydia Bassi. About 10 persons are feared dead, with several others injured following a tank farm fire outbreak at the Calabar Free Trade Zone in Cross River State. Umar Bassi Edet, who was at the scene of the incident, reports that property worth millions of naira were also destroyed.
Incident, storm survivors and eyewitnesses say started at the early hours while a vessel was discharging products within the tank farm. They attributed the tragic incident to the illegal activities of some persons, which led to a spillage with members of the community trying to cash in on the opportunity. With the outbreak of fire, the entire area was engulfed, including a fishing settlement at the waterfront, where some fishermen were burnt and several engine boats, canoes and fishing nets destroyed.
That was about 3:15 a.m. I was in my location there. I had a loud bang outside. So before I could open my gate to come out, I saw fire has gorged this Links company, oil company there.
The fire ups, so when you hear boom for up there, as you hear boom for up. So all we people we've been there, we don't run.
But this is not the first time where that thing happened. Every year, it used to happen.
Commissioner for Petroleum Resources Cross River State, Mr. Itaya Inyong, confirmed the fire was as a result of illegal activities of criminal elements who were siphoning petrol from the tank farm.
I see a connivance of security and some other staff, within the depot area. Otherwise, there's just no explanation that people will be taking petroleum product in jerry cans from depot.
Investigation is to be launched into the matter. In Calabar, Umar Basedet, NTA News.
In another development, Minister of State Petroleum Ibe Kachiku has denied any involvement in the planned concession of Port Harcourt refinery to foreign oil companies. Kachiku stated this at the Senate Ad Hoc Committee public hearing on planned concession of the Port Harcourt refinery. National Assembly correspondent Rabi Musa reports that the petroleum minister said private financing was sought in the maintenance of the Port Harcourt refinery.
Minister of State Petroleum Resources Ibe Kachiku said about $300 million is needed for the maintenance of the Port Harcourt refinery after 40 years of existence. He said the present administration is poised to ensure that exportation of the country's crude oil stops by 2019.
As irrelevant as you consider it to be, but I also mentioned that in my appearance before the Joint Committee of the Senate for Upstream and Downstream, which was carried very extensively, I had also refuted that.
Chairman of the Ad Hoc Committee, Senator Abubakar Kyari, said President Muhammad Buhari is committed to transforming the oil sector.
In 2017, you made statements like, okay, you have now refuted those statements. But shortly when this purported statement at the World Press Conference in Houston was made, just a week later, on May 12th, the Nation was the Chief Executive Officer of Owando. And the bold headline there was, Owando to take over Port Harcourt refinery.
Stakeholders comprising federal government ministries and agencies, non-governmental organizations, labor unions, host communities and chief executives of the oil companies involved in the planned concession of the Port Harcourt refinery were present at the one-day public hearing. Rabi Musa, NTA News.
Small and medium-scale enterprises, if encouraged among Nigerian youths and women at all levels, will resuscitate the nation's economy, boost growth of local industry, and solve the unemployment challenge. President of the Association of Defense and Police Officers' Wives Association, Omobolanle Olonishakin, stated this during an entrepreneurship empowerment program in Abuja. Momso Damien Dati has that report.
Starting up a small or medium-scale enterprise does not necessarily require a huge capital. Considering the current economic situation of Nigeria, a little training and skill acquisition, backed up with some financial assistance or required materials, may be enough to remove an individual's name from the unemployment list. The benefits are numerous, from stimulating economic growth and indigenous entrepreneurship to boosting traditional industry and contributing to the total growth of the country. To this effect, the Defense and Police Officers' Wives Association took the bull by the horns to train and empower wives of armed forces and policemen who lost their lives while serving the nation, alongside some youths and other women of the barracks community.
To graduate this third set of trainees is an assurance that we are consolidating on our right track records of developing the women folk and indeed the less privileged in the society, with particular emphasis on the widows of our fallen heroes.
So even this 10,000 naira, you can invest it and you grow and be focused in life, and you will achieve whatever you want to achieve.
With diverse skills acquired in catering and hotel management, fashion designing, computer and production of cosmetics and detergents, the graduating trainees went home with starter packs and undisclosed amounts of cash to add up to Nigeria's list of entrepreneurs. In Abuja, Momso Damien Ati, NTA News.
German ambassador to Nigeria, Bernhard Schlagek, has insisted that the Economic Partnership Agreement, EPA, between the European Union and Nigeria will not hamper industrialization as being contemplated from certain quarters. He was speaking on European Economic Union, problems, prospects, and opportunities for Nigeria at an event organized by the Institute of Directors, Nigeria, in Abuja. Justin Bem-Unyi reports.
The ambassador, while encouraging Nigeria to ponder on its stance on the trade agreement, cited 5 African countries that have massively increased their agricultural export to the EU after the EPA agreement. He argued that products exported from Nigeria to the EU at the moment or in the nearest future and those the EU offers to Nigeria are not in any way similar. So the fear of hampering industrialization should be ruled out. The ambassador added that with one of the priorities of the Nigerian government policy to strengthen the agricultural sector, it will of course make sense to strengthen also the agricultural exporting related side of the economy.
Of course, there are clauses that would shelter some clear-cut areas where you are to develop an infant industry.
He commended the efforts of the government on ease of doing business initiative as an internal move to improve the economy.
The need to rekindle the spirit of patriotism among Nigerians to sustain the drive for national integration, growth and development has been brought to the fore. This was at a media conference by Project Nigeria First, held in Abuja. Project Nigeria First says it supports restructuring that will engender a system of government that guarantees transparency, accountability, and equal opportunities.
The part of the followership is responsible for the level of corruption in governance. Our commitment as a people is what drives how we are governed and what can reinforce institutions to enforce their obligations and regulations.
To say Nigeria first. Let us first come together as Nigeria, then we come together to discuss our problems, and then we stay together to proffer solutions.
Commending the landmark achievements of the present administration, the group prayed for speedy recovery of President Muhammadu Buhari. The need to build a great nation on true federation has again been stressed. This came to the fore in a panel discussion on a possible future for Nigeria. Omenka Marachuku reports that it was a subject of discussion at the Feast of Baragwegilda organized by the National Association of Sea Dogs.
of Barracuda is a long-standing tradition of the Pirates Confraternity, which provides a forum for analyzing particular nagging socio-political issues and seeking solutions. The focus was on the importance of tackling the root causes of socio-political ills and the need for harmonious coexistence among Nigerians.
Must learn from the mistakes of the past and improve on it.
On whether the National Association of Sea Dogs is a secret cult, members of the association said from its humble origin at the University College Ibadan, Pirates Confraternity has grown into an international charity organization with presence in up to 30 states of the Federation.
The names are being used, and I recall in 2014, where the spirit was very high, mostly in the Western universities, where some group of hoodlums gathered themselves to say that they were sea dogs under the name of Ahoy Boys. We immediately came out with a press release.
National Association of Sea Dogs, also known as the Pirates Confraternity, started in 1952 at the University College Ibadan as a student organization, which had as its main aim the quest for a just, egalitarian and decolonized society. In Abuja, Umenka Amrachuku, NTA News.
Nigeria has been ranked low among African countries promoting true art of modern African architecture. This was made known at a seminar organized by the National Gallery of Art on promoting African architecture. Oyinaya Kalu Oka reports.
I'm here in Metama, one of the highbrow areas in Abuja with beautiful structures of high architectural designs. But come to think of it, none of these structures show African expression and creativity. The seminar had designers, artists and architects exploring and unlocking the secrets of creating a new genre of African art and aesthetics, which is said to be fast disappearing. African countries like Ethiopia, Kenya and Mali were commended for promoting the African modern architecture, while Nigeria was identified to have low percentage of this.
This is a beginning towards a competition. We want to leave this open to artists, open to their own imagination. They will come up with drawings and paintings that will be indigenous to Africa.
African architecture experts say should reflect its culture and history, demonstrating the variety of architecture that exists on the African continent as done in other countries like Japan, China and India.
Culture and lifestyle. How do African people use a space? How do you live in it?
And the materials available is quite inspiring.
It's important because culture and arts in Africa and Nigeria are moving very high.
Modern African architecture has inspiration from African objects and artifacts. Oyinaya Kalu Oka, NTA News.
You can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Let's now pause for some messages. Panorama returns shortly with more reports. Stay with us.
The struggle for independence had been a long and tough one. Our founding fathers and compatriots sacrificed their comfort and even shed their blood. We cannot at this point in history afford to spirit away their sacrifices for immediate but temporary gains of today. Let us emphasize what unites and not what divides us. Working for the unity of purpose with a stronger vision for a better tomorrow. NTA, growing with the nation.
Together, no matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together. Let's stop fighting each other. Let us live as one. It doesn't matter where you come from, your tribe or religion, man, woman or child. It doesn't matter who you are. Put Nigeria first. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
How can we develop when we're always in crisis? Families have become refugees in their country. No matter our differences, show some understanding.
No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
Nigeria, the only country we can train with remarkable potentials to excel.
Let us believe in ourselves and change our attitude for the sake of our country and generations unborn. Let us revive our cultural values, which are our essence as a nation. Let us renew the spirit of patriotism and hope in our dear country. Do not take or give bribe. Be punctual always. No more African time. We can't expect to be global citizens and operate on African time. Join the queue. Insist that people are attended to on a first-come basis, no matter who they are or where they come from.
Nigeria, good people, great nation.
Welcome back. This is Panorama on the network service of the NTA. Thank you for staying with us. Protection monitors across the states affected by insurgency and related crises have converged on Yola, Adamawa State, to review and find solutions to the protection gaps and human rights abuse against internally displaced persons. Ladi Bala reports that the meeting organized by the National Human Rights Commission for Refugees is expected to come up with a new map of intervention for relevant stakeholders in humanitarian services.
In every humanitarian crisis situation with adverse effects on the victims who are forced on mass exodus to unknown places in search of shelter and loss of means of livelihood, human and protection rights abuses abound. With hundreds of thousands as IDPs across affected states, the National Human Rights Commission, in partnership with the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, came up with a project aimed at monitoring and reporting protection issues relating to population concerned in 2015. The representative of the Acting Executive Secretary, National Human Rights Commission, Mr. Ojukwu, who lauded the role of the monitors and partnership with UNHCR, noted that addressing the gaps requires multi-sectoral approach and commitment of all stakeholders.
The outcome of what we are going to do here for these 2 days will determine the future of the project.
Some of the protection monitors who spoke to NTA News identified poor situation of shelter, food, and access to education by children of the IDPs as major gaps that require urgent intervention. In Yola, Ladibala, NTA News.
Sustained synergy and interagency collaboration among security personnel continue to serve as a tool to curb trans-border crimes and ensure regional security. This came to the fore at a 5-day ECOWAS Interpol joint training and operations along Nigeria-Niger border tagged Ninibo, held in Sokoto. Mohammed Nasir has that report.
The joint training and operations, which drew participants from Nigeria and Niger Republic, focus on how to effectively fight against illicit drug trafficking, criminal network, and falsified medicine. It was organized to bring about the required synergy and coordination in the framework of the fight against transborder crimes. Participants resolved that lack of effective management and control of West African borders foster the prevalence of illicit drugs trafficking and other organized crimes. Chairman, National Drugs Law Enforcement Agency, said the agency is currently working out modalities to engage member states of the sub-region in bilateral agreement and signing of memorandum of understanding that will strengthen cooperation, enhance intelligence sharing, and mitigate constraints.
I'd like to say that this is a very good development, first in our border, Nigeria-Niger, because here the two countries almost sound the same.
Criminals have no border. Therefore, we should try as much as possible to eliminate border between in doing our job as law enforcement agencies.
During the event, operations were carried out along Nigeria-Niger border, where seizures were made. The seized items include 67 kilograms of diazepam, 22 kilograms of tramol, 794 kilograms of codeine, and 30 grams of cannabis. In Sokoto, Muhammad Nasir, NTA News.
The need to synergize and stand in the gap for not just the church, but for the survival and the growth of the country has been emphasized. The Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Pilgrim Commission, Reverend Touja, stated this while briefing journalists in Abuja. Serafina Okon has the details.
That if the church can contain its people and give them the right biblical approach, hate speeches
will be non-existent.
The Nigerian Pilgrims Commission has held her third conference with the theme Shaping Pilgrimage to Reshape Nigeria. The Executive Secretary, Reverend Tor Uja, in his address says this year's pilgrimage with the new managerial team and manpower, all missionaries have been put in motion to ensure a hitch-free pilgrimage.
Every group that goes on pilgrimage will be accompanied by some pilgrimage ministers, some pastors and ministers whose job is to accompany the pilgrims, to guide them in the process, to pray with them, to give them counsel, and to give them biblical exposure.
Pilgrimage can be a great tool in our hands to shape this country to the glory of God.
Meanwhile, the group is set to proceed Greece and Rome en route to Israel. Serafina Oko.
The federal government has continued to make its presence felt in various IDP camps in Borno State through intervention initiatives implemented by government agencies. Latest of such was the presentation of relief materials to widows and households at the Teachers Village IDP camp in Maiduguri by the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons. Mohammed Ibrahim reports.
This is Shetima Ali Mongono Teachers Village Camp, which houses more than 8,000 IDPs from Ngala and Kuka local government areas of Borno State. This food distribution, launched by the Federal Commission and National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and IDPs, Sadia Umar Farouk, is targeting 1,200 households, the elderly as well as widows.
The federal government has been there. Since I came on board, we've been giving interventions to the northeast that have been affected by this insurgency. You know, the commission is being guided by appropriation. So whatever is being appropriated to the commission has been spent judiciously to this people.
The Federal Commissioner added that a lot still needs to be done by government and non-state actors to cover the gap of needs of victims of insurgency, as well as ensuring proper coordination of assistance to have the desired impact. A total of 1,725 and 12 kilograms bags of beans were distributed to beneficiaries by the Commission. Some of the beneficiaries expressed gratitude for the gesture, which they said would go a long way in augmenting feeding requirements in the midst of short supplies. In Maiduguri, Muhammad Ibrahim, NTA News.
And now sports. Niger Flickers and Kada Queens win 2017 Hockey Super League as Roger Federer wins 8th Wimbledon title.